Hey Cooltards, it's me. We're back with more AI sci-fi writing. As you know, I do a lot of sci-fi writing on the side, and I like to have AI help me out a bit. But sometimes, I like to see what AI can come up with. We're still on creating characters, because this conversation I have with ChatGPT is really long and stupid. I just can't pass talking about it. It's free content. At some point I'll get into actual world building, but we still have a few characters to go through, so let's stop beating around the bush. Here's another student. Names: Avi student, Drin Velnis, K student, Ryla Fen? Off to a bad start with the bad names. Like, seriously man, we literally talked about this. Backstory and origin. Drin and Ryla were both chosen by the Aven Research Council to study Earth's social structures, cultures, and behaviors, as a part of an ongoing intergalactic research initiative. Their home planet, Ave, is highly advanced, valuing logic, intelligence, and scientific discovery over personal expression. Despite their cartoonish, stubby forms, both are exceptionally intelligent by Earth standards, having mastered complex subjects like quantum mechanics, biology, and linguistics before even setting foot on the planet. However, they lack emotional depth and natural charisma, making them incredibly awkward in social interactions. They're not technically friends, as friendships are considered an inefficient emotional investment on Ave. Instead, they are assigned research partners, monitoring Earth's inhabitants, documenting their interactions, and reporting back to the Aven Research Council. They are polite but mechanically detached, operating more like social scientists rather than normal students. Okay, good so far. Appearance. Here's what they look like. Also short story, but when I first tried to generate them with the output from the AI, this is what I got.
Unacceptable!
Yeah, so I had to paint a pretty picture and feed it into ChatGPT, and looks pretty good, I think. Personalities and quirks. Drin Velnis, the social one. The more talkative of the two, but only in a strictly informational sense. Enjoys conversation, but only as a means of data collection, rather than personal connection. Uses unnecessarily long words. Example, instead of saying, "that was funny," he says, "I acknowledge that your statement aligns with conventional humor structures." Okay, he wouldn't say that. Over-explains everything, providing detailed yet unnecessary information about simple things. Finds human social customs fascinating. Though he doesn't understand them, he often asks things like, what's the purpose of small talk when no meaningful data is exchanged? Why do humans value spontaneity when it is inherently less efficient than planning? Constantly takes notes on students recording behavioral data like, Student 34B exhibited frustration when I informed him of the statistical likelihood of his failure in the upcoming exam. Despite his lack of emotional understanding, he genuinely enjoys being around people, even if they find him exhausting. I like that. I think the AI made him kinda cute. Ryla Fen, the analytical one. The more observational of the two, preferring to silently watch and document behaviors. Incredibly blunt, stating facts with no regard for tact or social awareness. Overly literal, frequently misses jokes, sarcasm, and figurative language, unless explicitly explained. You'd think an intellectual like her would understand humor, instead of not getting it. Maybe she just doesn't find it funny. More skeptical than Drin, often questioning why Earth's customs exist, rather than just recording them. Will stare unblinkingly at people while analyzing them, making interactions deeply uncomfortable. Doesn't engage unless necessary, making her seem rude or disinterested. But in reality, she just doesn't see talking without purpose as useful. Her most common phrases include, I do not understand why you were laughing. Please explain the humor in explicit detail. That sounds like something an AI would write. Oh wait, despite her logical approach, she is not unkind. She is simply detached from emotional concepts. Relationships and social interactions. Most students find them incredibly weird, not because they're aliens, but because they speak and act in ways that feel unnatural and robotic. Despite their differences, they always work together, as their species see teamwork as an essential efficiency tool rather than an emotional bond. Well, that sucks. Miscellaneous details and habits. Both take copious notes, but Drin is more active in gathering data, while Ryla prefers passive observation. They never use slang or contractions in their speech, always speaking in full, precise sentences. They never raise their voices, no matter the situation. Their tones remain flat, calm, and eerily usual. Casual. They always thank people for their interactions, even if the conversation was completely mundane. Your company has been noted. I appreciate the exchange of information. Goodbye. They don't eat in public, as their species don't require food in the same way humans do. Instead, they consume small energy capsules to sustain themselves. Despite their lack of emotions, they are never outright rude, just unintentionally frustrating. Their research mission is long-term, meaning they have no plans to return home anytime soon. Final thoughts, no one cares what you think. I just realized that I didn't give them powers. Whatever. I like it, little to no complaints. Let's see if AI can keep this up.
Spoiler!
It doesn't. Tabby Mearlock, the dreamer of life. Critter creation, the power of imagination. Tabby's main ability is his power to bring his imagination to life, in the form of critters. His creations are completely sentient, but loyal to Tabby, able to communicate, though most just like to make small noises or use body language. Reflective of his emotions, meaning strong emotions can result in unpredictable critters. Critter types, everyday critters, harmless, playful, always appearing around him. Small colorful creatures, some resemble tiny stuffed animals, weird pets, or floating blobs. They often dance, sing, or just exist to keep him company. If he's happy, they may glow or sparkle. If he's sad, they may look droopy or muted in color. Emotional critters, triggered by strong emotions. If frightened, he may accidentally summon a larger, spiky critter to defend him. If angry, he could create critters with tiny, harmless claws or teeth that puff up aggressively. I like how it says harmless, just so you know that Tabby has no intention of hurting anyone. Another thing I picked up is that AI can't stand it when someone gets hurt or acts threatened, so it just adds something to imply that that wouldn't happen. You might see it later. Limitations of critter creation. Critters vanish when he sleeps or is unconscious. He cannot create life smarter than himself. He cannot create a critter that breaks physics too much. No time travel critters, for example. Other powers. He can fly. Quirks and personality traits. Completely in his own world. Tabby has trouble staying focused in class because he's too busy imagining things, always humming or talking to his critters. Like soft things, often cuddling his own critters or wrapping himself in blankets. Randomly gives his critters long weird names like Sir Wiggleton III or Captain Noodlebeast. Oh, AI, you're so letter and dumb. Captain Noodlebeast is such a silly name. Tabby doesn't even speak English for the record, but that's fine because you're so funny. Despite his young, soft personality, his mind is incredibly creative and complex. Let's expand on him a bit more. Tabby Mearlock, expanding his story. Tabby grew up on Philanite, Earth's name, a planet known for its emphasis on creativity, artistry, and individuality. One for all. The people of Philanite believe self-expression is sacred, and as such, many citizens develop a unique power that reflect their personalities, identities, or emotions. Again, one for all. However, while his siblings were all born with powers that fit into traditional heroic roles, Tabby's ability was different. His critters were unpredictable, chaotic, and sometimes disruptive. This led to mixed reactions from his family. Here's his family, have fun reading. Tabby adored his siblings, but he often felt like he couldn't keep up with them. He would watch them train, wrapping himself in his cape and imagining he was a hero too. However, when his critters began causing too much disruption, his parents decided he needed a calmer environment to develop. That's why he was sent to Earth. Tabby is retarded, by the way. Caretakers and their dynamics with Tabby. Tabby is monitored by 4 caretakers, each with a unique role. Humanoid alien, Earth Mother. Tabby's favorite caretaker. She is gentle, affectionate, and treats him like her own child. Number 2, the anthropomorphic cheetah, the tracker. Her job is to monitor Tabby's well-being and prevent overstimulation. Tabby accidentally causes trouble for her most, floating away, getting lost, or creating too many critters. She can calm him down with her powers, but she tries to let him regulate himself first. Anthropomorphic fennec fox, the medic. Quiet and distant. She mostly checks on his health. She rarely interacts with him unless he's sick or exhausted from overusing his abilities. Number 4, anthropomorphic dragon scientist, the observer. More interested in Tabby's powers than Tabby himself. Doesn't dislike Tabby, but views him as a subject. Tabby tries to be nice to him, but instinctively avoids him. If left alone with him, Tabby will float as high as possible to avoid interaction. Quirks in small details. His cape is his comfort item. If anyone tries to take it off, he panics. His critters love to mimic students. If someone is arguing, they might copy their gestures in an exaggerated way. Sometimes speaks in third person. Tabby is sleepy. Tabby wants food. Okay, he's not that retarded. Notable moments and interactions. Number 1, the Great Critter Stampede. That sounds really corny. One day, Tabby got too excited in class and accidentally summoned over 100 tiny critters. They flooded the room, some climbing onto students, others floating. The caretakers had to round them out before they swarmed the cafeteria. That's stupid, I hate it. Tabby's first scary critter. During a moment of fear, Tabby accidentally created a large, shadowy critter. Instead of attacking it, it hugged him protectively before vanishing. This was the first hint that his stronger critters could be guardians. I'm a hero too. Watching his siblings succeed, Tabby sometimes wonders if he can be a hero too. His caretakers reassure him that his powers are special, even if it's different. His powers aren't the only thing that's special. Not Tabby, just to be clear. I mean, if you think about it, Tabby's powers are like really OP if he tried. Which is what my initial intent for his powers were. One day, his critters might do more than just play. They might actually protect others. Yeah, obviously. Threxel, God, not this name again. Threxel, Den, Orvie, N. Heron designate class 2. Why does the AI love ending every alien name with N or in? Species, modified Aven, Heron subtype. Planet of origin, Hera. Height, 1 foot 10. Form, I can just show you an image of him, but the AI says he has no visible ears. Just why? I didn't ask him not to have ears. Otherwise he wouldn't even look like a feline, which I did ask for. The AI just adds the most random crap ever. Clothing, none. Nudity among herons is not considered indecent, but rather a cultural assertion of biological perfection. His fur is immaculately maintained, never a strand out of place. This guy is Aven, originating from the planet of Ave, which is the planet Drin and Ryla are from. They also don't wear any clothes. But they don't think that they're biologically perfect just because they don't wear any clothes. They just don't. So this part doesn't really make any sense. Heron history and cultural evolution. Background of the herons. Originally a fringe faction within the broader Aven species. The herons were an insular, ultra-traditionalist ethnic group that long resented the Avian K branches for embracing egalitarianism and collectivist identity models. Heron ideologues held that the Aven race should never have abandoned their ancient belief in caste hierarchies, genetic superiority, and order through suppression of emotional volatility. They already do suppress their emotional volatility. You can literally, go back and see that they just don't express any emotions. Also, caste hierarchies still 100% exist in Aven society, because there was another alien student that I didn't mention from, earlier who was also from Ave, but this is a different ethnic group from Drin and Rylas, who are both Avi and K respectively, and they do not like associating with her. Which I did in fact tell the AI about, but apparently just forgot that aspect. Anyway, following centuries of cultural disputes and physical isolation, the Heron seceded from Ave with full agreement to the ruling Aven Council, and then they moved to Hera. Planet Hera, the world of polished order. Environmental conditions. Everything is hot and white. Architecture and urban design. Everything is futuristic and white. Cultural and social order. Everything is conservative and white. I don't really need to explain much. Heron politics. The advanced right. The Heron worldview is often misunderstood by outsiders. While many call them fascist or hyper-conservative, the Herons refer to themselves as the advanced right, an ideology they refuse to explain. What is known, they believe in national exceptionalism to the point of metaphysical superiority. They fund far-right parties on planets they consider savable, but often withdraw support when these groups fail to adhere to Heron standards of order. They despise collectivist and egalitarian models and claim freedom is a dangerous myth. Ave isn't exactly a free planet either. They see democracy as flawed, but tolerate representative models, if limited to the aesthetically worthy. Herons also reject what they call biological vulgarity. They have an obsession with bodily perfection, quietism, and evolutionary selectiveness. The idea of ugliness is political to them. Student profile: Threxel Den Orvien. Threxel is the youngest son of one of the 9 cultural stewards of Hera, a high-ranking official responsible for managing the planet's aesthetic standards and education algorithms. He is part of a diplomatic trade. In exchange for Earth's use of Heron luxury-grade synthetic metal, Hera requested to place a youth ambassador in an alien exchange program to observe and report on Earth's moral decay. Threxel is, to most students, a walking contradiction. Incredibly cute in form, yet deeply unsettling in behavior. He moves like a wind-up toy, with perfect posture and sharp mechanical turns. He speaks rarely, using signal gestures or total silence. When he does communicate, it is through stiff glances and rare shrill chirps emitted from invisible vocal membrane. No, he does speak. I don't know where the AI got that from. He speaks. He can talk. He has no visible mouth, but it's said that when alone, his fur moves ever so slightly, hinting at hidden biological functions beneath. Most unnervingly, Threxel never blinks. That's stupid. Okay, he just has no mouth. It's not that deep. Campus presence. Dress code violator. Administrators complain that he's naked, despite the fact that Drin and Ryla do the exact same. Behavioral issues. Threxel has been caught correcting teachers on curriculum phrasing and inconsistencies in biological taxonomy. He once wrote a test question in cold black ink mid-exam and returned it annotated in Heron's script. The teacher left the classroom shortly after, and the incident was never spoken of again. What? Did I just have a stroke reading that? What does that even mean? Cafeteria incident. Threxel entered the cafeteria once. Upon hearing a student chewing gum and witnessing another open a ranch dressing packet, he shrieked at a pitch that shattered a plastic food tray, then vanished from sight. He never returned. I didn't mention that this account I'm using is heavily used. I think it's picked up on the fact that I explain a lot of little details when I write to it. So that's why I keep saying overly specific things like a student chewing gum or another opening a ranch dressing packet. It gets really annoying really fast because we really don't need all these hyper-specific things that you need to mention to us. Interaction with Drin and Ryla. Upon first seeing Drin and Ryla, Threxel's pupils dilated with what might have been ancestral disgust. He circled them slowly, analyzing their proportions. Without a word, he drew a tiny graphite pen and scratched a silent note onto a strip of metal, handed it to Drin and walked away. The note read, "Exile perfected." Neither Drin nor Ryla knew what that meant.
What?
I don't know what that means either. Again, the AI is being so, overly specific and random. Also, he drew a tiny graphite pen and scratched a silent note onto a strip of metal. How? How do you do that? Threxel Den or Vien. Personality and psychological profile. Threxel's demeanor is an exercise in controlled arrogance. He radiates entitlement in everything he does, from the crisp, exacting way he crosses the room to the subtle pauses he inserts before responding to anyone, as if deciding whether they're worth the mental bandwidth. His speech is a strange and uniquely Heron blend, articulate yet casual, clipped but sharp, filled with contractions and laced with snark. Unlike his Aven cousins, Drin and Ryla, who speak like walking lexicons, Threxel chooses not to bother. He finds Aven eloquence, aesthetic fluff for the insecure minds. No one actually says things like that, right? Aesthetic fluff for the insecure minds. Aesthetic fluff for the insecure minds. Aesthetic fluff for the insecure minds. What does that even mean? Despite his emotionless face and permanently half-lidded eyes, Threxel feels quite a bit, just on a plane above everyone else's. He thrives on psychological irritation, getting a kick out of provoking others just enough to make them squirm without crossing any hard lines. He's not cruel. He's just recreationally irritating. When annoyed or challenged, Threxel becomes cold and combative, slipping into a terrifyingly sharp rhetorical style that combines dismissive sarcasm, targeted verbal barbs, and bad faith logic traps. He will twist your words, mock your premise, and push you into a philosophical corner, only to shrug and say, "Yeah, I'm bored now," before leaving you mid-argument. TLDR, Threxel is a rage baiter. Campus behavior and daily routine. Threxel is rarely seen participating in structured activities. He has a customized Heron observational permit, which allows him to sit in on any class, lecture, or event without having to officially register. A small floating surveillance drone always trails behind him, about the size of a baseball. The drone is matte white with a glowing blue optic and quietly scans people, objects, and even conversations. It records nearly everything. Students who confront Threxel about it are ignored. Teachers who bring it up are redirected with phrases like, "Not your jurisdiction," "I'm exempt," "Maybe you should file a complaint with someone who matters." Oh, Threxel is such a savage. He seems to have memorized all Earth's privacy laws just enough to exploit loopholes. Quirks and habits. Milk-based desserts. Ice cream, yogurt, custards, anything milk-based instantly neutralizes him. The moment he starts eating, all interaction ceases. Students have learned that the best way to disarm or pause Threxel, aka tell him to shut up, is to hand him an ice cream cone. I did not write this fact. Audio feedback screech. On rare occasions when Threxel experiences disgust, rage, or extreme violation of norms, he releases a screech, a metallic, bone-chilling frequency. It's not loud, but it pierces. The vape and dice crew incident became legendary. The screech shattered a hallway light, and one student dropped their vape pen and never picked it back up. Basically, he saw a bunch of students rolling dice and vaping in the bathroom and crashed out. I don't know why the AI is wording it like that, though. Fashion statement by non-statement. His nudity isn't negligence, it's statement. Drin and Ryla do that too. You know, the AI is kind of obsessed with talking about how naked he is. Musical obsessions. Threxel's headphones are a mystery. Sleek, unbranded Heron tech with noise-canceling capabilities beyond human comprehension. We have noise-canceling headphones too, you know. He exclusively listens to brutal earth metal bands, particularly from Scandinavia and Brazil, or ancient Heron string symphonies. He once broke out in rhythmic, perfect headbanging during a fire drill. Students filmed it. It's still unclear whether he noticed.
What?
No. I said that Threxel has been seen headbanging over his headphones. What the hell is rhythmic, perfect headbanging during a fire drill? Why did the AI come up with this random thing? It's genuinely so annoying. I just can't stand it. Powers and biological abilities. He can do all these things. Moving on. Forsang, formerly Nefortis, the planet that never sleeps. Forsang is a colossal gas giant. Wait, what? Forsang is a colossal gas giant with several moons, but 2 continents and 1 classified island exists on an immense artificial megastructure platform. Floating atop its crushing volatile atmosphere, the continents themselves, Central and North, are technological marvels. Floating engineered surfaces suspended above lethal gas clouds and atmospheric storms that reach below. No! What is the AI talking about? The prompt I gave it only describes the planet as having only 2 continents, the Central and North continents, and 1 classified island. Nowhere does it mention the planet being a gas giant with artificial floating continents. It's very clearly a solid planet. I swear, the AI just comes up with these stupid random ideas that make no sense at all. Let's regenerate. Planet. Forsang, formerly Nefortis, where the sun is a rumor and the rain never forgets. Forsang is less a planet and more of an endless urban monolith soaked in neon and rain, orbiting in a crowded trade sector along crucial galactic travel lines. Its primary power doesn't stem from natural resources or military might alone, but from its strategic location and neutrality in most galactic conflicts. This has made it an indispensable mediator state, trusted enough to broker deals, dangerous enough to back its words, and cynical enough to avoid idealism. Geography and environment. 2 continents. The central continent, with the sprawling megacity of Nemoros, dominates the skyline, and the north continent, colder, windier, more industrial, but similarly drenched in permanent storms. Weather. Rain is the planet's constant companion. Dense icy sheets fall in vertical waves, sometimes laced with chemical residues from atmospheric industry. The sky is almost always a bruised gray-black, with brief moments where the clouds fracture, exposing a weak distant sun. These rarer breaks in the storm are known as sky hours, often celebrated with impromptu roost gatherings. Biodiversity. The planet outside the cities is dangerous and largely abandoned due to nature. Enormous subaquatic predators lurk in the planet's deeply dense freshwater oceans, some large enough to capsize industrial sea rigs. The flora, much like the planet's cities, is dark, aggressive, and resilient, towering carnivorous vines, bioluminescent fungi forests, and sprawling marshes riddled with acidic bogs. Culture and society. Demographics. Forsang's population, 250 septillion strong, is overwhelmingly comprised of non-Earth humans and anthropomorphic species. Genetic diversity is extreme, with cybernetic augmentation so commonplace that a fully organic citizen is practically an oddity in urban centers. Politics. The government is authoritarian, but smartly so, favoring stability over oppression. Surveillance is everywhere, and citizens trade a portion of their privacy for the privilege of security, infrastructure, and advancement. Economy. Technology is Forsang's true export. High-density manufacturing, weapon systems, cybernetic enhancements, atmospheric vehicles, and towering residential superstructures are their bread and butter. It's whispered Forsang sells weapons to both sides of many intergalactic disputes, a neutral middleman profiting from galactic instability. Crime. The planet's lower levels, deep beneath the polished megascrapers, are a tangled underworld of gangs, smuggling operations, black market cyber warfare, and constant turf wars. Law enforcement rarely descends beyond designated zones, leaving vast portions of urban sprawl to govern themselves. And then we finally have the student himself. Appearance of Reichton. Please forgive me for making that name. Reichton is the perfect visual embodiment of Forsang's harshness and technological reliance, a creature born incomplete, held together by the very technology that defines his people. Physical composition. True form. Beneath the polished black alloy plating of his armored body, Reichton is composed entirely of magmatic, molten-like substance, amorphous, glowing, and unstable. His natural form would constantly shift, drip, and collapse under its own weight if not contained, a living pool of heat and energy resembling molten rock mixed with sentient plasma. Suit of armor. His armor isn't just for protection, it is his skeleton, musculature, and containment field all in one. Made from Forsang Black Steel, a lightweight yet virtually indestructible alloy engineered for both industrial and military applications. Neon red energy seams pulse visibly along his joints, neck, and limbs, giving an intimidating, almost biomechanical appearance. These glowing lines serve as conduits for both heat dispersion and limited mobility assistance. A circular energy node embedded in his chest acts as a primary stabilizer for his form. Without it, his molten body would spill uncontrollably. General visual impression. From a distance, Reichten looks like a futuristic, militarized beast designed for intimidation and warfare. A walking cybernetic wolf, pulsing with power. Up close, faint hums and the quiet hiss of cooling systems can be heard, the smell of ionized air and faint molten heat lingering around him. His glowing veins, sharp angles, and constant low thrum make him stand out even in a school filled with aliens and enhanced students. Despite his imposing look, his presence isn't aggressive, just calculated, contained, and unmistakably dangerous if provoked. Reichten, the Forsang Molten Youth. Background. Powers. We're this far into Reichten that I now just realized that the AI forgot to mention his powers in the last 2 chats. Here, just read it. Personality. Reichten is paradoxical. Appearance. Grim, militaristic, intimidating. Reality. Sweet, naive, childlike in certain ways. He craves validation, and his moral compass is fragile. Praise makes him double down, even on questionable behavior. Scolding reduces him to guilt and apology. While this leaves him vulnerable to manipulation, it also makes him very approachable. People find it hard to dislike someone so eager to be kind. I did write that he was a very kind-hearted person, but I don't know, it just kind of reminded me of like the other 2 people where they were just kind people and they wouldn't hurt a fly and you know. His agoraphobia stands out. Wide open spaces terrify him after growing up in cramped megacities. Sunny days and quiet suburbs feel alien, so he tends to stick close to buildings or groups of people for comfort. Time on Earth. At first, Earth students assumed he was some kind of officer or militant inspector and avoided him. When he started nervously trying to make small talk, his childish nature leaked through. His broken speech and tendency to blurt out his own name, Reichten Strong, made him seem goofy rather than threatening. He's not retarded. He doesn't speak in third person like what the AI did try to do with Tavi. From there, he became popular with Earth students, who thought of him as a mix of cool alien bodyguard and awkward sweetheart. He became something of a school mascot, the scary nice guy. He often gets invited to carry heavy things or open jam lockers. Students dare him to throw things into the sky. He once launched a soda can so high it disappeared. He joins Earth students in games, but doesn't understand the rules, creating chaotic but funny moments. Oh, Reichten Funny Moments compilation win! Despite this, his naivety still makes alien supervisors worry he'll fall back into manipulation if the wrong people earned his trust. Quirks. Fear of rain. Hides under covers or runs inside at the first drop, because he's been burned by rain before. Eats metals like snacks. Prefers steel, dislikes copper. I said he prefers steel over rocks in the prom. Where did it get copper from? Often ends sentences with his own name. Reichten, good friend. That sentence doesn't even end with his name. And stop making him talk like that. He's not an idiot. Relationships. Earth students admire him. They think he's chill but weird. Some still don't realize he's organic and assume he's a robot. Jiren and Ryla, avid intellectuals. Initially unnerved by his looming presence, but they later discovered his curiosity was genuine. He once asked them to teach him how not to be dumb. Dumb? Like random? Teach him how not to be dumb. Oh my god, they're trying to make him stupid. Threxel, dragon. I'm sorry, who? Threxel Dragon? Who is Threxel Dragon? You mean Threxel Den or Vien, the character you made up? We only talked about him like 3 chats ago. How did the AI forget who he was? And if the AI could remember who he was, it could have just put Threxel and that's it. Why did the AI add Dragon at the end? And don't tell me that the AI just has bad memory, because it somehow remembered that Jiren and Ryla were the Aven intellectuals, but they're not even mentioned in the prompt anywhere. I talked about them like a bunch of chats ago. I even mentioned that he was from Hera. Where did Dragon even come from? Why is he Threxel Dragon? This is the stupidest thing AI has ever done. Ugh. Hey Danny, can you make Threxel Dragon a new GGO? Genuinely so stupid. Let's ask the AI to generate an image of Threxel Dragon. I give up.